Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another live today, and thank you for joining us, and we always appreciate that. And you know our little habit of saying hello to dear friends, those who want to just post their name up, and we do a little roll call, and Mike is number one on the hit parade today. I wonder if Brahim is going to join us. I always wonder about that. Brenda, how are you? And thanks for coming on, Mary. Good afternoon. And Rita. And Fran from Orangeville. And Donna, how are you? Madeleine, good afternoon. Bonjour. Jeanette from our staff. Nancy, how are you? Donna, Vancouver Island. Sandy. And Kathy, Vernon, British Columbia, Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia, Bruno in North Bay, Yvonne, Petawawa, and Milika from Stouffville, Wendy, Markham, and Lynn, Aurora, and Cecilia in Shedziak, Nouveau-Brunswick, Marlene, good afternoon, David, from Florida, Rita, how are you? Maria from Victoria. Jacqueline, how are you? Rose from the Cove. Bonnie, good afternoon. And Nativity. Francis. I seem like I've known you guys for how many years? Pat, Beverly, Nouveau-Brunswick, Lorna. Couple of more and we'll get going here. Kathy from Simcoe. Nice to have you on. Sherry. Oh, I want to sing, Sherry. I have no idea. Carol. Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Carol Ann. And Georgie. Didn't I just say it, Georgie? Denise. How are you? From out west in Alberta. Rita. Rachel from Mark's Day. Donna. Park Hill. Cheryl. Thanks for coming on, guys. We appreciate it big time. Shelley from Alberta. Phyllis, BC. Olga. Snow Deep in New Brunswick. Marl. And Lisette. Okay, so guys, I think we're just Jacqueline. How are you? And we're going to get going, and I'm going to finish answering the questions from Friday that I didn't get at, because you know me, I go off onto rabbit trails. I don't finish when I start pontificating on certain questions. And anyways, I always want to get to them and finish them because they're always such good questions. And we really encourage that question and answer. Now, we love that. You guys got to remember, I'm used to that. I had an open line syndicated radio show for a lot of years. And I was just used to people calling in, and we didn't even screen those calls. And, it was good, though, because you never knew what question was coming, and I really, really enjoyed it. And guys, you know how you learn? Ask questions. That's how you learn. Okay. Claude. The World Health Organization says global cancer rates are expected to rise by more than 75%. Now, how can that be? Claude, think about that. We're not winning the war on cancer, we're losing the war. And worldwide, they're losing the war on cancer. It's crazy. I just read this afternoon that our new king, the United Kingdom's new king, I'm so used to calling him Prince Charles, but he's King Charles, isn't he? And he's got cancer. They just released the news release today. So I don't care if you're the king of the castle or you happen to be the dirty rascal on the bottom of the food chain. No one is immune from cancer. From the king to politicians to the richest people on the planet, it don't matter. Cancer is so prevalent and it's getting worse, and that bothers me. You know, with all the advances that we've made, you would think that that's getting better, Claude, okay? So by 2050, they pointed out that 75% increase by 2050. Man, oh man. They pointed attention to lung and breast cancer, also mentioning alcohol as a factor, okay? My question, okay, thanks, Claude, is sugars a major contributor to lung cancer? Yes. Now, let me get into this a little wee bit here today to answer your question, Claude, okay? Hopefully you're on with us. If not, you know, you can listen to a podcast at a later date and listen to this, okay? Remember that, guys. You can always listen to the podcast as they're put on stream, okay? Now, good question. Does sugar contribute to lung cancer? Well, one thing for sure, cancer needs fuel. Any cancer needs fuel. Cancer cells need fuel. And I've shown you in the past, and I'll say it again, that cancer cells are renegades. They have 400 times more receptors for insulin and sugars than any other cell. They need sugar to survive. They do. It's their primary source of fuel is sugar. So does sugar have anything to do with lung cancer? Yes. But let me get a little bit more specific. That, why is, and guys, if you've been on with me in the past, you know this, but it's always worth repeating. One of the things, the number one killer in cancer is still lung cancer. And it's been number one for a long time. The cancer that kills most people is lung cancer. Now, people got the memo about smoking. If you look at the way the world was when I was a kid to the way the world is today, we often live in a smoke-free environment, right? Like, I grew up, my parents smoked, my older brother smoked. I played hockey in arenas that were filled with smoke. And it was nothing to go into a home or whatever. They were like my home, and everybody and their dog smoked. I remember very specifically in 1962, I was 10 years old. My dad came home and who smoked 4 packs. I don't know how he saw patients. There was these, if you go up to my dad's office, he had huge ashtrays when I was a kid. In every room, in the waiting room, and even in the treatment room. So, like, are you kidding me? But it was a smoky haze. Everybody smoked. Okay? But now, primarily, we don't have that anymore. You can't smoke in your car. You can't smoke in any place public. And you see people even at hospitals, they go outside. I always kill myself. I feel sorry for them, but they're in the hospital and they're hooked up to you know what, and any machine, and they don't care. They got to get out and have a smoke. And in Northern Ontario, it's 40 below and they're smoking. I mean, I think that they're hooked. They're addicts, right? Anyway. But now we don't live in that, and yet lung cancer today is still the number one killer of all cancers. So I would say to you, Claude, there's something else going on. Now, sugar for sure. Once a cancer starts, It needs fuel, so sugar. But, and I should actually look it up and give you the podcast number to listen to this, okay? And I'll repeat a little bit of it right now. One of the things that smoking does in the lungs, I mean, damages the lungs for sure. But one of the byproducts of smoke is aldehydes. Okay? Like you hear the word formaldehyde. Well, aldehydes, very, very damaging to the lungs. Okay? When you consume processed foods, the middle aisles of your grocery store, and the vast majority of them, from cookies to cereal, whatever, a lot of them have that hydrogenated oils that were meant for your car and not your body. Canola. I call them the hateful eight. Soy oil and Canada's gift to society, canola oil, which is a rapeseed oil. And they are treated, they are man-made, they are terrible oils, and they really increase your levels of omega-6. Now, it sounds good, omega-6. Nah, not when it's way out of balance to omega-3. And they create, one of the side effects they create is the same as smoking. Aldehydes. And I think, okay, this has been my opinion for a lot of years, one of the most dangerous things when you go to a fast food chain and they cook their fries, their chicken nuggets, whatever they do, they put it in a bad oil. The McDonald's at one time used to use lard or G, or, I don't know how you pronounce it. Fat, animal fat. And that's the way you ought to cook. But the oil police came around in the 60s and 70s and said, that'll give you cholesterol and make you very ill. So we got to change your oil, McDonald's and all the other fast food chains. And they we use peanut oil. Well, throw it out. It ain't no good for you. Because one of the side effects, especially when you heat that oil up, is aldehydes. And thus the connection, Claude, to, I think, even a bigger connection than sugar. The bigger connection to lung cancer is the oils, the bad oils that we use. The hateful eight. Rapeseed, canola, soy oil, sunflower. They all sound good. Oh, they're vegetable oils. Nah, they're oils made for your car. And I told you the story, this is a while back, that they actually put that oil in a jet plane, a 737, I think, and they were able to fly with that oil. And I'm not kidding you. It's not meant for human consumption. And yet today, people live on fast foods. And thus, the huge increase in lung cancer, even though people are not smoking like they used to. Okay, Claude, I hope that answers your question. Alcohol, look, alcohol is a toxin. So, look, I hate to tell people to be a teetotaler. You know what I mean by that? To avoid alcohol. But alcohol goes directly to your liver. You know why? because it's toxic. It's toxic. It's the same reason that fructose, high fructose corn syrup, goes directly to your liver. Why? It's toxic. Okay? So thanks for the question, Claude. I appreciate it. Kathy's asking, do eye drop antibiotics used after cataract surgery affect our gut the same as oral? Not quite the same, Kathy, and the reason is because it's not a systemic antibiotic, okay? It's localized. Now, that doesn't mean there's no side effects to it, but it will not destroy the microbiome in your gut the same way that an oral antibiotic would, okay? So not quite the same. Side effects, they do kill some. You got bacteria even in your eye, my dear. And your eyes and every organ in your body has bacteria. You don't notice it, you don't see it, but there's a microbiome there, and they do communicate to some extent with the gut. So yes, there would be side effects, not like a systemic antibiotic, but nonetheless, I would highly recommend, Kathy, you take probiotics broad spectrum in order to help you to heal, plus restore the microbiome even in the eye, okay? But not quite as damaging, Kathy. Thanks for the question. Lynn, on day 26 of the reset, Lynn, and that was before Friday, so you're just about done if you're not done now. Good for you, by the way. Good for you. Sleep well, drink 2 liters of water daily. I have I'm assuming dark circles under my eyes. Now, I have nightier eyes. I don't know what that means. Okay? But we might have just misprinted that, okay? For me, but I can deal with the dark circles under your eyes. One of the things that I was very, Lynn, observant in the office. That's one real advantage of seeing patients, okay? And, I know now they're coming in with, you can get on a Zoom with your doctor or whatever. Look, I guess it's better than nothing, but I was a very observant guy. A touchy-feely guy, okay? Like I got in your face, man, because I wanted to look at you. My dad used to say, the patient has inside information. Have a look. Listen and have a look. And I used to look at people's eyes, and I looked under their eyes, and I looked at their skin. I had a lady once tell me, I think it happened more than once, Dr. Martin, you're too close. I kind of laughed because she was, one of these people, this is my space and don't come in my space. I said, you came to see me, right? Yeah. How long did you wait? About 4 months to see you, Dr. Martin. I said, I'm in your space. Too bad. Now you're in my space. And you're going to get me. I'm going to look at you. Let me look at your skin. I want to see your hands. Let me look at your eyeballs. And I'm going to get in your face. But very personal. No, but I was observing. I looked at their thyroid. I put my hands on it. And I wanted to look at their eyeballs. And then I could see a lot. I looked at their hair. I looked at their eyebrows. Okay? Very observant. And, when it comes to dark circles under the eyes, if I saw that, first things first, I would think in my head, this lady or man has allergies. Okay? They're allergic to themselves. No, that's autoimmune. They're allergic to something. If it was a kid, dairy. Again, when I say dairy, don't ditch dairy, switch dairy. Don't get rid of all the dairy unless you can't take any dairy. Okay? But most people can take cheese. And usually when you have an allergy to dairy, you really don't have an allergy to butter. You have an allergy to milk. And why there's so much of that today is because milk has been denatured. If they would just give us the milk out of the cow and leave it alone and let it drink it, I tell you, you get rid of 90% of all dairy allergies. But because milk is pasteurized at 1200 degrees, it is the fat taken out. It's denatured. And thus you get problems with it. Okay. And that's why I don't want people drinking milk anymore. You don't need it. Okay. So let me get back to your question. First thing I looked at, allergies. Dehydration was often common with people with dark circles under their eyes. The other thing is what are my two favorite vitamins? Well, I got more than two. Because I put vitamin C coffee in there. No. What I'm saying to you, I always would check, and oftentimes it was one of these two or two out of two. They were low in B12 and low in vitamin D. Okay? Now, I had checked all those things. So allergies, dehydration, low B12, low vitamin D, or all of the above. Those are the things that I would see with dark circles under the eyes. When I see that, I used to have especially women come in, some men, but mostly women, and they looked like Casper the Ghost. They were so pale. And dark circles under the eyes. And I'd say, man, oh man, you got problems, but you came to the right place. Okay? You're anemic. No, my doctor said I'm not. I don't care what your doctor said. You don't have enough oxygen going through. You don't have enough red blood cells. And I would take their blood and I'd show them. I said, you're running on fumes. So let's build up that blood. Okay. Thanks for the question, Lynn. And good for you, Lynn, for doing the reset. Henry. Well, Henry is 72 years old. Well, you know what, Henry? You and I are the same age. Here's what I tell everybody. All the greats were born in 1952. Okay? All the greats were born in 1952. I'm just kidding. Well, you and I, Henry, let's give each other high fives. Born in 1952. Okay. Having tremors and stuttering in my jawline. Could that be from too much caffeine? Absolutely not. Don't blame coffee. Okay? Look, tremors, you always got to really look at stuff and make sure there's no Parkinson's. I used to look at involuntary tremors and whatever, and you could get that stuff. Look, it could be some form of mild degeneration in the brain and the central nervous system. Not always easy to find. Again, I bring you back, Henry, low levels of B12. The nerve vitamin is B12. That's your nerve vitamin. It was always what I checked first. And isn't it crazy that about 80% of the population have low levels of B12? They don't have optimized levels of B12 at all, and doctors don't care. Generally, it doesn't bother them. It should. But they're not taught like the doctors of the 1940s and the 1950s and the 1960s. Would you, for heaven's sakes, give those B12 shots? They don't do it. They hardly think about it. Unless they got flagged at the lab, they don't even talk about it. They just don't know so much about B12. But that's what I'd be looking at, Henry. And look, the other thing that I found over the years, because I used to test for it, was heavy metals. Mercury, lead, cadmium. And people had no idea. Who ever tested for that? Well, I used to do a urine test for it. And I mean, a lot of people, they had a tremor and they had heavy metals. And I would do a detox to get those heavy metals out of their tissue, out of their body, get it out. And heavy metals loves to go into the brain and affect the brain. And this is well proven, by the way, in Parkinson's. And, with mercury and Parkinson's. So look at those things, Henry. Like you want to do a detox. One of the best things you can do to detox heavy metals, two things. One, and they both come back to probiotics. One, you want to, probiotics, especially different strains, do different things. I talk about this all the time. Like probiotics, like acidophilus or bifidus, they're good. They're wonderful. They're probiotics. They help to regenerate your microbiome. I love that. Good for you. But very specific ones like L. reuteri and L. rhamnosus, the ones that we put in our, like you'll see it in our immune boosting formula within our probiotics. I chose those two strains because they get rid of heavy metals in the body. And the other thing they do, they kill yeast or candida, which is often the transporter of those heavy metals into the brain, Henry. So do a detox. And remember, if you do the reset, a lot of times what people find on the reset, they empty their liver. Your liver is your detox organ. You don't have to add anything. You want to empty it. Your liver will do the job. The liver will do the job. And you remember, you need to, Henry, a good sleep, because at night, when you're sleeping, your self-cleaning oven of the brain comes on. You want that. Okay? So those are the things. And of course, water. Detox. Okay. Thanks, Henry, for the question. Let me just get to another one. Henry, Diane, what do I think of DSMO for treatment of all kind? Not much. Okay, look, I'm not saying it doesn't have any benefits. DMSO, okay? How do you even pronounce it? Dimethyl sulfoxide, okay? I'm going to say 30 years ago. Okay. Now remember, I had a radio show and there was the hits of the week. You know, the hit parade. You remember? Okay. If you're my age, you have a hit parade. Do they still have that today? A hit parade? Okay. I don't know, but we had the hit parade and it seemed to me that I really loved listening to the hits. Okay. But on my radio show, we sort of had the hit parade. Like they would come across and Dr. Martin, what do you think of melatonin? And then for the next month, every question was, it seemed like it was on melatonin. Melatonin must be from cancer to wrinkles to pimples on your nose. It fixed everything, right? And then there was others. And DSMO, I'm saying 30 years ago, maybe it wasn't quite that. It sort of hit the hit parade and everybody was talking about it. Just drink this stuff and it's so good for you. You can put it on your skin and it fixes everything. Look, if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Now, with that, let me just say, Okay, Diane, I'm not against it, okay? The only thing I think the FDA, unless I'm mistaken, has approved DSMO for is interstitial cystitis. By the way, we got asked that question, I think it was on Friday. Didn't I answer the question on interstitial cystitis? But that's actually a treatment that I think the FDA approved DSMO for. But I know it's anti-inflammatory. I've read all about it. I had patients who came into the office years ago that used it, and some with good results. But in my opinion, I just haven't seen it to be as effective as some are touting as a cancer therapy, for example. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the evidence of it. I haven't seen the experience of patients that just thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Some had some results, but it wasn't consistent, Diane. So that's my answer. I don't want to knock it down too much, but okay. Joanne, does estrogen provide protective benefits against cardiovascular disease and osteoporosis? And if so, does declining estrogen in perimenopause or menopause itself put a woman at risk for those two diseases? Yes and no. Okay, it's a very good question, Joanne, and I say yes and no. Look, declining estrogen is normal. Okay, if you're in perimenopause or menopause, one thing guaranteed is your estrogen is coming down. It's just normal. So as you age, you are a woman is more susceptible to cardiovascular disease as she ages. So does a man. But women are specifically. And here's my take, okay? Here's my take. It's not the estrogen. It's the pro-baby one, progesterone. Progesterone is the queen bee of hormones because you get all your other hormones really from progesterone. And a woman, when she is well, she has as much progesterone as estrogen. You see, I'm never, ever, ever big on giving a woman estrogen therapy. I never liked it, even in the birth control pill. I think it was a women abuse. I mean that. You know, this will set you free. Nah, it's going to make you more susceptible to cancer, and I never liked it. Never liked it. Breast cancer and ovarian cancer and uterine cancer and fallopian cancer and all of those cancers are driven by estrogen. So the key is not the estrogen. You're always, look, it comes down, but as long as you're progesterone, there's nothing that will protect your heart as far as a hormone like progesterone does. Okay? Now, you don't necessarily have to take a bioidentical progesterone. What you do is, that's why I like flax seeds, for example. They lower your estrogen to help balance between estrogen and progesterone. I hate estrogen dominance because it's not good for a woman. It's not good for a man. How do you think men get prostate cancer? Too much estrogen. Too much estrogen. Not enough testosterone. See, man's balancing hormone is testosterone. And men, you know, I tested men in their 50s. They had more estrogen than their wives. But I never gave a woman estrogen. I didn't like it. I wouldn't do it. Okay? Because it's a growth hormone. It's like giving you insulin. I wouldn't give you insulin unless you're type 1 diabetic. Okay. Thank you for the questions. Okay? And I know, Joanne, you're going to read a lot about it, and I understand that. And I know there's two schools out there. There's more than two, but you're going to hear the other side. Oh, estrogen, it's safe and it's good for your skin and it's, it keeps a woman young. Yeah, naturally it does, but I don't like adding estrogen to anything. We live in an estrogen-dominated world. Almost every chemical. Your body thinks it's estrogen because it looks like estrogen. And your body goes, okay, give me that. But those chemicals, they ain't good for you. And they're called xenoestrogens. And I never liked them, and I still don't like them. And one of the things, I just read about it today, I'll say it. Man, oh man, those antibacterial soaps will elevate your estrogen through the roof, and you put it on your hands. And whenever I see that stuff, I get a headache and a massive migraine. The stupidity of the world to put that on their skin. Ladies, never put that on your skin. Men, never do. It's going to elevate. You're going to get prostate cancer. So stop it. Okay. Well, look at Angie. Is she ever getting personal? On the recent master, okay, we did a master class. Dr. Martin, you talked about your supplements that you take, but you didn't tell us how many you were taking. Man, now you're getting personal. No, I don't mind. I'll tell you. Here's what I do, okay? I take 2 Navitol every day. Why do I take Navitol? The most powerful antioxidant man has ever discovered. It is an anti-aging, anti-inflammatory, you name it. It's like a multivitamin on steroids. It is so good for you, okay? And I can't remember, is it 50 times more powerful than vitamin C? The other one is ascorbic acid. So I take 2 of those a day. Remember, ours are very, we put a lot of pine bark in every capsule. Ubiquinol, why do I take that? Because of my battery packs. Especially heart and brain, ubiquinol. I love ubiquinol. And we used to have it Navitol with ubiquinol, but now anyway, complicated. Health Canada, oh, God bless them. Anyway, we separated our ubiquinol, and don't ever take ubiquinone, take ubiquinol CoQ10. I take 2 of those for my memory, for my heart muscle, and for muscles, because you got a lot of mitochondria. You want to protect them. DHA, I take 4 a day. Now that's a very high dose. I admit that. It's very therapeutic. But I'm getting older. Born in 1952. So I tell all my patients that for me, this is what I do. I take 4 a day. Why do I take 4? I want to protect my eyes. DHA makes up the brain. You're a fathead and you got to replace it. And it lubricates. The best oil in the world is not those seed oils. It's DHA oil. And ours is a very specific pharmaceutical grade DHA. Very difficult to make, but it's the best. You find a DHA that's got more DHA than ours, I applaud you. Good luck. You ain't going to find it. But I wanted that in my office, okay? Remember, all of our supplements came from clinical experience. Probiotics, I take 3 a day. For the last 40 years, 30 years and more of Navitol. Okay? Okay, and coffee. She said, I know how much you take of that, Dr. Martin. 4 a day. I drink 4 cups of coffee a day. Okay? I rarely ever allow myself a 5th cup. Okay? But I drink 4 cups of coffee a day. I love it. Okay. I think those are all the questions. Okay. Guys, we love you. I take cortisol. I take other ones too. I take curcumin every day. Every day I take it. I invest, guys, in my health. Okay? It's an investment. Okay? You invest. I understand that. You know, people say, well, Doc, can you get everything in food? Well, you ain't going to get that much DHA unless you eat salmon 6 times a day. How are you going to get that much DHA? You eat 6 steaks a day. Like, okay, hello, how are you doing that? Okay, guys, we love you dearly. Thanks for all the support, and thank you for watching. And we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, love you guys.